Hi, Lorraine Hamilton from Coach School here, and today I want to talk to you about your emotional bus stops. What on earth do I mean about your emotional bus stops? Well, sometimes it feels that we can go from 0 to 60 turbo powered, and we can end up maybe reacting in a way that isn't helpful to us. So in an earlier video, I talked about taking the power back from our emotions, and I introduced a little trick or tip on how to do that. But it's important for us to know what's happening when we're overreacting to an emotional stimulus. It can really trigger us into doing things that are not helpful. So I don't know if you've ever had that experience where before you know it, you've snapped at your partner, you've taken their head off, and you're like, where did that come from? Or, you know, you poured that glass of wine or eaten those chocolate biscuits before you even knew what you were doing. Has that ever happened to you? I know it's happened to me. The trouble is that usually we don't have a lot of time between the trigger and our response or our reaction. So the point of the emotional bus stops is to actually stretch out that process so that we've got more time to notice what's happening and then maybe choose to do something different. Literally, get off the bus. All right, what do I mean? So it's down to this breakdown of our mind-body connection. We're living in a time where we've put so much emphasis on cognitive ability or intellectual ability that we've drowned out all the messages that our body is sending us. And it's talking to us all the time. Okay, it's sending us little messages all the time. And when you start to slow down and maybe you do meditation or a little bit of mindfulness, that's when you start to be able to tune into all of these messages again. Okay, so we've stopped listening, and the way that I kind of liken this, or what I liken it to, is the insistent toddler. So if you imagine you've got, you know, a little toddler beside you, or, you know, remember when my kids were toddlers, maybe I'm having a conversation with someone and there's a little tug and they're like, Mom, Mom, Mom. Right? And then, but you carry on and they don't get a response, so it's a little bit more insistent. The tug gets a little bit harder and the voice gets a little bit louder. Mom, 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 but still no response. And then suddenly it's Mom, or a full-on tantrum in the middle of the supermarket. Okay. Now that's essentially what's happening to us when we're not listening to our body, sending us these little whispers of something here needs your attention. Okay, there's something here that you're going to have to respond to. And when we're not listening, it eventually gets to the point of these really scary panic-like symptoms. You know, heart racing, feeling really scared, panicking, feeling sick, feeling nauseated, headaches, out of control. These are the kinds of responses that I get when I ask this question to clients. So what we want to do is slow that process down, because right now it's happening really fast. We're going from 0 to 60 on turbo boost. We're going all the way, doing all the bus stops before we've even noticed. And so we want to slow that down and begin to notice some of those other messages that we're being sent, but we're just so skilled at blocking them out that we just go from 0 to 60. Okay? But they're still there. So we can reverse engineer it. And the way to do it is, first of all, I want to preface this with, it's a practice. It's something that you've been really practiced at doing it the way that you're doing it. You're really good at that right now. So to change it, you have to unlearn that and practice. And it's just about raising awareness at this point. So the way I do it is I think about, okay, well, there's a response that I wish I hadn't had. I'm going to forgive myself for that. It might not be in the moment, it might be later on when I'm reflecting. So, okay, I'm going to have to forgive myself for that. What happened right before I did the chocolate biscuit thing, for example? What happened right before that? Oh, well, I was feeling really underappreciated. Okay, and that was causing me to feel really quite heavy. Oh, there was a real heaviness in my chest. Okay, well, what happened before that? Oh, well, before that, I felt like I had sweaty palms, or I felt a flush of heat, and everybody's different. I can't give you your combination, but if you think about, okay, well, here was me really stressed out, or feeling really angry, and I don't know how it happened. What happened just before that? Okay, just before that, yeah, I got this flush of heat, and just before that, I felt tingling. And the point of what I'm trying to get to is that the more you notice the things that happened before the really scary symptom, the more you'll notice them in the future. And in essence, what that does is slow the whole process down and give you a chance to get off that bus before you start doing things that you don't want to do. Let me know how you get on. I've been Lorraine Hamilton from Coach School, and I will see you soon.